Hey everybody, Mr. Lunaire here with the first of my reflection videos, and so this is where I'm going to talk about these games that have just been impactful and significant to me. So I guess it's kind of like a Slater review, but like full disclosure, you know, I love these games I'm putting out there, so full bias in effect, right? And really these are the kinds of games, it's not just fun mechanical play, but they're just an experience, right? They're a memorable experience that has stuck with me, and so I want to talk about why and how they kind of played out for me. And so we're going to hop between different scenes, and I'm going to kind of go over a few points for this. Pathologic 2. My goodness. Our play begins in the middle of things. It might take time to figure out what's happening, but it'll all start coming together soon. Right there, quick, it goes fast, but it's kind of the point that gets so easily missed by so many people who start playing this game and get into it and just struggle, is how important this prologue is. And it's such a setup. And this is a game that really demands engagement and investment from the player. You really need to be immersed into this. You're not getting a lot of hand holding. You're going to get little points on where you can go, right? But it's going to tell you kind of the frame. It's going to show you, and it's going to expect you to infer a lot of information, and it gives you just not like one-to-one. Like here's watch this dialogue. Like it's just, let's just talk to Mr.
Climb out of the pot.
Immortel here.
Burn your hands.
So we'll get little blurbs right there to kind of get a little personality, and all of a sudden we're getting about a performance being a flop, you're unfit from the role, and we get no context, right? No context. And I've seen a lot of people get so frustrated, like, well, how do I know what the right answer is? And it's very much about being a stranger in a strange land. And I see people just geeking out about how Morrowind does this better than their game. And like, I get it. Morrowind does a good job of that, but it's just so mechanically frustrating to engage with. Morrowind never clicked with me the way this game clicks with me. And I would say this is my personal pick for the best stranger in a strange land experience, all right? So let's see, we're going to do a quick cut here. We're going to hop to the start of the prologue that pulls you in. And right here, so it's telling you things are not good. You know what I mean? This is not great. It gives you an idea, you know, how to set up your game, like all that kind of fun stuff. Weird stuff is going on. You meet some of the significant characters. Tragically, we do not have the storylines for these two yet. Kind of in the background. You know, okay, thank you, Mr. Bachelor. We understand. Science will prevail. Poor Changeling. I know, it's not going good for you, sweetheart. It's not going good for you. I'd love to see the Changeling story. I never did play the first Pathologic, right? This is a sequel, and the first one is a complete game with multiple paths. This game was a dream deferred in a lot of ways. Not to, I feel like that's not disrespectful to Mr. Hughes, right? I mean, really, like, he's an American iconic author, and his language is just in my daily vocabulary. But this game was obviously a work of passion by the creators, and it didn't do as well commercially, and you could almost feel the heartbreak when they talked about it after the fact. And so the original game, you had the Haruspex path, which is who you are now, you had the Bachelor, and you had the Changeling. And I've never seen these two paths, and the idea was that they were supposed to get a full path in this game as well, and it never happened. They never got it, unfortunately. We've got a Marbles Nest, which is like a mini game for the Bachelor, but it's almost just depressing. All right, day 12, the last one, which the Haruspex ends with a semicolon, right? All right, so a continuation. So we just are seeing here, they're not explaining, they're not being like, this is exactly what's happening. We got some weird dialogue from them earlier, which I skipped through because I really want you to experience this for yourself if this catches your interest. But we see the military's here. It's all muggy, it's awful, it's rainy, there's this cloud of awfulness, things are on fire, people are whimpering. You know, here we go, we got people lined up in like a shooting gallery over here. It's not good. Things are obviously bad. And this is day 12. And it's going to take us back, and we're going to start the game at day 1. And it's really important that you take this and know, this is going to happen. This is coming for me, and I've got to prepare. And that's a huge part of the setup, right? So I'm already talking too long on this, so I'm going to pause on this, and we're going to skip forward to day 1 some. And then here we are, past all the prologue stuff, where it's basically set up all the mechanics that you need. It's set up frame of the story, giving you lots of foreshadowing, and you're just launched into the world. Some bodies at your feet, a little cutscene that gives some context. You talk to this fella here, and he'll explain the way of the world to you. I think one of the things that made the game stand out to me the most is the blended mechanics. And so combat's part of the game, right? It's not the best part of the game, which I actually think is intentional. It's part of what I like about it. Combat is clunky. It's awkward. You are not a combatant. You're a doctor coming into this town, right? A surgeon. And so you're not super great at combat. But killing is not the goal. Typically speaking, while sometimes inevitable, almost every enemy you fight can surrender after you get them low enough, and then you can choose to rob them or just let them go. And so a lot of games just don't do that touch. It's just this assumption that, oh, we kill all the bad guys or kill everything that opposes to us. And then you have, you know, all these things. I'm not going to talk. I don't want to go into plot things and things along those lines. I just kind of get an overview of all the elements I love about this game. And you're just let loose. You're just let loose. They give you a little context, but not a lot. And you're just in your town. And here it is. Here's your town. You got one little objective marker. This will populate more as you go throughout the game, but a lot of times these are just kind of guiding points, but really just wandering around and doing what you need to do. And this is the entire world. This is your world throughout the gameplay. And the simplicity of it is so engaging. It turns, as you get into the game, you'll just basically just walking, okay, I need to go from point A to point B, you know, and that alone is an experience. A lot of times it's just tedious. Oh man, FedEx quest, walking simulators, got to walk from one side to the other. But just the navigation of this little town is so engaging and so much, you just get so much out of it, right? And basically, and so it's got some distinct stages to it. And this initial stage, so you know everything's about to go bad. And this is probably my favorite stage of any game, is the kind of the preparation stage. You know things are going to go bad. You've had a little peek into the future. You're here. You're in day one. You don't know what's going on. Obviously, something's up in the town. And as you go in, you get bad vibes, but no real immediate kind of pressure. So you got that one objective marker. You can meander to it at your own pace. But you know things are going to go bad, so it's on you to start preparing. It's on you to start, you know, stockpiling and navigating and exploring and just getting ready to get through this world and see what's waiting for you out there. See what you got going on here. And everything is just so alien. Like it's like you're the stranger in the strange land. Even though you're coming home, it's the sense of stranger in a strange land, and these are your people, but they're not your people. You've been so far away that you're basically a stranger, and that kind of naturally fits into your role as the player, kind of shifting into this character, which also fits the framework constantly given to you that you basically are an actor in this world. You're an actor that's been put in here, and basically your job is to perform as best you can. You've been thrown on, you don't really know the script, you've been given a basic premise, here's the play, here's what we're doing, here's some of the things going on, and figure it out. As you're doing it, you're managing all of your stats, your mechanics. Let's see here, bring it up here. And so basically, as you meet people, unlock like the connections of who you know, you have your thoughts, you have your stats, so you have to manage your exhaustion, your hunger, your thirst. This is just a constant battle. These meters go down very quickly, and the world works in kind of an illogical way at certain points, but if you just, once again, engage and immerse, it all kind of flows as you get the feel for it, as you get into the vibe of it. And these are your enemies just as much as anyone with a knife or some other more tangible enemy. And there's just so many threats to balance, and it's just a hard game in a lot of ways. As you're learning it, you definitely find once you learn to navigate it, it becomes much more manageable. But just that kind of struggle that you're in, especially when you don't know anything, it can be frustrating, and I understand that. But that's kind of such a big part of the experience, that frustration, that kind of feeling like you're fighting an impossible battle. That uphill, I'm pushing a boulder uphill, and it's always pushing back down at me. And it's just that struggle to make it one more day, to complete one more objective. And that struggle is so key to the central themes and experience of this game. And that creates kind of a beauty to it, right? So I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to shift over to a save a little bit later into the action. All right, so here we are a couple days into the action started. The major threats have presented themselves. The beginning of what you saw in that prologue is on, and you are trying to stop it. You're trying to do your best here. And so I actually distinctly remember this save. This is one of my older saves here. And basically, you see more things have populated onto the map. You see areas have turned red to represent the danger in those areas. And you've got to go. You've got your objectives. You don't have time to get all these objectives. You're trying to get to as many as you can. There's other things you got to do. And I specifically remember this right here. I was walking through, and all of a sudden I can hear a baby crying. I had a whole plan. I had a route I was going, right? And all of a sudden I come out, and I'll adjust the noise in case you can't hear it, but you're out here, I'm running around, and you hear it. And all my plans went away, and I'm like, shit, now I gotta do something about this. And that's the game. Like, you're going in this immersive gameplay that's just unlike any other game I've really engaged with before. It just happens, and I'm like, I have my whole plans out the window now. I've got to handle this. I got to do something about this. Like, it's calling to me. And it's a game that moves you. It moves me, I should say. I don't want to presume on you. But as you can see, just we look at my inventory right here, right? I'm exhausted. I need to sleep. Sleeping's important. And sleeping's valuable, too. It's not just wasted time. There's important things that happen in sleep, but you also need to manage. You're trying to get as much done as you can. Everything's passing in real time while you're managing your hunger and your thirst, and you're trying to get all this stuff done. You're trying to treat people with your medications. You can see my inventories if you play this game. It's pretty stacked right now. This is for my second playthrough, I believe, so I've got a better grasp on things. My first playthrough was this full struggle bus. Things were going just awful, right? You can go into all these houses as this is happening and just try to make the difference. Try to do the best you can in a bad situation. And so it's just, I cannot overstate just how engaged I was in playing this game and how powerful the experience left on me. I'm gonna hop to one more thing real quick, and I'm already going longer than I want to for these, and I'll come back to show you another aspect of the game that I really enjoyed. All right, we've gone back in time a little bit here, so I can showcase another really unique aspect of this game is the economy. The economy is done in such a way where it's so engaging and immersive, and I'm using these words a lot. I know I'm just repeating myself here. I'm sorry. But so you got the obvious things, right? You got the economy. You got some money. You go to your shops. I think this is a shop I'm wandering into. I probably should have looked up to make sure the sign was there. Yeah, there we go. So you got your shops. You got some money. You can go. You can shop with people. You trade with them. There you go. You're spending your money. You're buying some stuff over here, right? It's great. It's wonderful. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. Standard procedure. But in a way to make the town really come alive, to make the NPCs be important, all of these people have unique trades. These are all characters in their own way. You'll find they have different identities to them, and they each will trade different things. They each value different things. As you can see, this guy, he's a guard. He has some bullets. He has some morphine. He doesn't want anything I have to trade. He will give me, these characters you meet will give you trades. Everyone from the adults, who are unique characters right there. See, look, now he wants my grindstone. He's got some peanuts and he's got some toast. Food is really important. A lot of times food can be hard to buy, but you can barter for it. And these barters are oftentimes more efficient. This stuff, a grindstone, the chisel, that stuff is not going to sell for very much, but this guy values these things, especially the grindstone. He really likes this. It trades for 3, right? So we trade this for 3. He's got some peanuts, you know? Okay, cool. Let me get some peanuts. And if you get a little extra trade, your reputation goes up because you gave more than you got. And you see up here in the top corner that my respect is going up. Even the children, oftentimes these are just kind of like, they're just here in the background. These are all incredibly important mechanics. And that sounds terrible. Look at a child, like, look at this mechanic. They're carrying, look at this little child. He stole a bullet from somewhere. What does he want? He wants some peanuts. A bullet is incredibly expensive. They're valuable. But once again, this is so much you can engage with in the game. And it encourages this constant exploration. Everything around you has this level of interactivity to it that just a lot of games just don't get. And where most games I'm running past NPCs, I don't care. The patch NPCs in the park, cool. They're there, it creates immersion, but they're essentially a set piece. Every NPC has mechanical impact on the game, has importance to the game, and it's even more immersive in the context that you are trying to save these people. Your job is to protect all these people, and oftentimes you'll have reason, you'll have an impetus to stop and completely no name. They're just there and they need help, and you can help them. And so it creates this kind of living, breathing town identity for just this kind of just experience that I don't think I've really felt in any other game that I've ever played before, right? And so it's awful, it's beautiful, it makes you sad and angry sometimes in the same way that Dark Souls can make you angry, but at the same time, getting through it is cathartic. It's just like accomplishing your goals in this game is very much like beating a boss in Dark Souls, and you're just like, I did it! Screw you world, screw you, all of these things in my way. I accomplished, I made my goal happen, I survived, I found food, I saved that person, I got some sleep, and it's just relatable goals to accomplish, as opposed to the usual, like, I killed the big dragon. Like, that's great, killing a big dragon is fun, but like, just being that excited about getting some sleep, we can all relate to that on a human level, and it's very much a human game about human experiences and in impossible circumstances. And I can't recommend it enough in how powerful this game is in its simplicity in a lot of ways, that you're just walking around this world, exploring, engaging, and I love it. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite game experiences. If I could just play this game, like a random modification where I could do this uniquely, I will be all over it. If any of the actual expansion, other stories come out, I will 100% play it. I've already played, I think I played through it 3 times, which I very rarely play through games a second time. I'm all about the the canon experience, that whatever you play as your first playthrough, I very rarely want to go back. But this game just has such a unique mechanical blend of, I mean, you got your combat mixed in with your medical care. You're actually trying to medically treat people while also interacting with the town and the survival mechanics and managing your inventory and your supplies and the economy while navigating all these threats. And you are not, you know, you're a doctor, so you're special in that regard. But when it comes to combat, like this guy right here, he could probably beat the crap out of me. He can knock me out cold. Anyone here is a threat, you know. And I cannot stress just how incredible the experience of this game is if you stick through it. Now, I will say it's got like a hard difficulty curve. If you look at the settings, you even see a difficulty level. It's got intended difficulty, you know, and so I highly recommend doing the intended difficulty. If you're going to change something, maybe change, if you click on off, for example, and it gives you a little warning there, it'll give you a whole set of individual things you can modify, like maybe like item levels, stress, how fast things break. It's a little crazy. My one complaint in the game is item durability. I've got most of my stuff repaired here because I kind of knew what I was doing. Once again, this is for my second playthrough. My first playthrough is lost. Alas, it was from a different PC. And so your item repair is janky. It's finicky. And it's really annoying. But once you get past that point, the feel for it, everything else, it's 100% worth learning to deal with the jank. And it's a game that's not afraid to try new things and do experimentation. So this already ended up being way longer than I want it to be. I hope I got some of my point across about how much this game means to me and how impactful it is in my ramblings here. I probably should find a way to smooth these out and organize my thoughts better instead of just kind of doing the bringing you along with me in stream of conscious. But I do like, it's kind of like, hey, come, you know, sit a while and listen, right? Come walk with me, take a walk with me, and let me tell you about something that's really valuable to me. This is a game when during the quiet days of my life, when I've got moments, it comes to mind. I think about it. I think about walking through these streets. I think about the experiences I've had in this game. And it's a memory to me that stays with me and is powerful. And I've got a lot of games like that. And, you know, I know there's a lot of talk about, like, you know, the games as art, games as entertainment, where games stand for you. But these experiences, they stay with us. They're impactful. And all of this, you know, it's a game, but it's real. Someone put this together. Someone put these thoughts and experiences together. And while this is a work of fiction, the memories and experiences you have with this, they're all very real and very valuable. And I think we easily get caught in the kind of cycle of it all has to be fun and has to follow a certain formula that we're used to, right? A game should be fun and empowering and create that power fantasy or make us feel like we're the best or we're the most awesome, you know, protagonist character ever. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can do so much more too. It can make us feel lost and confused and all that blend of human emotions that art can evoke. You know, these games, like, what the hell is this? You walk up and you're like, what's going on with this? You know, this mix of media where we have the ambience, the sound, the visual, the interactivity. It's just such a powerful tool to engage the audience and tell stories and create these memories that can last a lifetime. And so thanks for following along with me. I know this has been hoppy and jumping around a little bit. I really wanted to show bits and pieces of the game without spoiling it, because if one of you watches this, right, one of you 8 wonderful people who watches this on here has a look and thinks, man, I want to try this game, I don't want you to feel like, oh man, I wish I hadn't seen that. You know, there obviously you saw little aspects of it, but I've tried to keep this as spoiler as possible while just showing the breadth of the experiences that this game has to offer you. So Pathologic 2, give it a go. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching out there, I will try to find a way to make these shorter. I talk too much and I apologize, but if you're listening, know I greatly appreciate your time, and I will see you in another video.